At our national laboratory, we focus a lot on solving big, complex challenges for our nation and society. And one of the measures of our impact is the publications that we produce and put out into the scientific community. We're really fortunate here at PNNL where we offer a publishing summit. And it's an opportunity for staff to come together and meet editors of journals, meet with staff who participate in peer review, learn the ins and outs of publishing, and just get their general questions answered about how to really write a good paper and get it out into the scientific literature as efficiently and effectively as possible. So I wanted to get your thoughts on how, what the barriers are maybe from an early career perspective on publishing, what the benefits are, any thoughts you had on
Yeah,
that?
sure. So we're going to be having this publishing summit coming up next month on October 16th, and a lot of this is going to be discussed there. So, one of the things that I think about when I'm publishing is picking the right journal and making sure that what you're publishing gets out in a timely manner so that your name is out there. So with picking the right journal, you want a journal that's not only got a high impact factor, we all think about impact factors, but I don't think it's the only thing that one should consider. You want to make sure that the journal is going to be targeting your audience. So when you're publishing, you're not just getting your name out there and increasing your recognition, but that's a chance for you to connect with other scientists in your specific field, which can really increase collaboration. So there's a difference just being highly cited and being well known for other scientists that you publish with. So picking a good target journal is important for that too.
I think we're really fortunate to have a laboratory that values publishing, encourages us to publish, and then gives us tools like the publication or publishing summit you talked about. So tell me how you got involved in that.
And we tried to identify some gaps maybe in the program that we had. And one of the gaps that came up was the idea of publishing without peer review. So this is what I'm going to be talking about at the Publishing Summit next month. What are the pros and cons to publishing without peer review, and what special things do you need to be considering when you're doing that? And you mentioned that we're at an institution where we're constantly trying to improve ourselves. That's something that I think really fits in well here because 5-10 years ago there wasn't really things like preprints for biological sciences, at least. They've been around in other science fields for a while. Preprints, Twitter, social media, all of this stuff is new ways to disseminate your publications and your information. We need to keep up with that. So having these kinds of summits and being at an institution where that's pushed is something that's really good. So I'm going to be talking about publishing without peer review, which includes preprints, book chapters, science journalism, things like that.
If you're an early career scientist and you're wanting to learn how to get a paper published, what are the resources that you found helpful to you?
So one of the things that I always do if I'm early career especially, and maybe this is for everybody, is I always try to have somebody who's not associated with the project at all read the paper before I send it out.
Smart.
I think one thing that a lot of us get involved in is it's very easy to just keep track of. Of course we know everything about this experiment. I'm sure the reader will too, but they don't know. So trying to reach out to other people at the laboratory who aren't involved in your project is a great way to see how an outside reader is going to be able to take in your information and your experimental design. So that's something that I always try to do.
I think that's smart because we all have terms and terminology and ways of thinking about things that are so ingrained in us. To have somebody else look at it.
It helps a lot.
It's really smart. So you talked a bit about publications as a means of expanding one's network and collaboration. And I also think it's a way to get sort of give back to your society or to your profession through peer review. Participation on editorial boards is another way to sort of do the service part, but also learn how to write a better paper because you're on the backside of it. So have you participated on editorial boards, or would you encourage people to do peer review, even though it's added effort? You don't get paid. It's one of those unfunded unfunded activities.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever turned down a peer review because it's a great opportunity to keep your name out there. I mean, editors are reaching out to you, so clearly you're doing something right. They thought of you for somebody they want to review this paper. So take it seriously. If you feel like it's not something that you can properly peer review, then I have passed it off. But if it's something that I think I know about, then I always try to do it. So I would definitely encourage that.
Any other tricks of the trade that you've had versus around publishing?
Write every day if you want to publish a paper.
Write every
Even
day.
if it's 10 or 20 minutes. If you're the kind of person, and I was like this, still am, who's waiting for that one day when you won't have anything else to do, that you'll have 8 hours free and that's
day.
when I'll write the paper. That's never going to happen. So the papers are going to be written faster if you try to focus at least a small amount of time more often on writing the paper than waiting for a big chunk of time.
Do you schedule the time? Do you get that formal about scheduling? An hour a day or half an hour a day?
If you open up my Outlook calendar, there are blocks on the time that just say network literature review or Neisseria gonorrhea literature review where I'm reading the papers. And if I'm writing a paper, I will block off the time so that other things aren't. We try to keep other things from interrupting us when we're writing, but write every day would be definitely the thing I would say.
If you need help, I think a lot of early career or even people who are new to the lab don't know that there's other resources to help them with graphics and images and figures and things like that. So who would you ask them to go talk to if they needed that help?
So if somebody like me, I'm always going to either my team lead or my technical group manager or the person who's the PI on the project. Usually if somebody's in that position, they'll know who to put you in contact with. And I mean, you might not know exactly who to reach out for graphics, but they will. And there's somebody that's been working with you, hopefully on this project for a while, especially if it's your PI on the project, they're gonna know who to reach out for. So those are usually the 3 people that I would go to first if I had questions of that nature. And with graphics design, I think it's really important, especially if you're thinking about writing something, speaking of service back to the scientific community, something like a book chapter, where it might not be tied to a particular project, but you're still writing something. And you're still giving something out there. You're spending your time writing on that. Those kinds of graphics where it's a summary or a review, I think are really important, and they can be great ways to get a complex idea out there.
Yeah, okay, great. Well, this is informative. I've learned a lot, and I wish you the best of luck. I'm going to come to your session, so thanks for doing that.
Thanks very much.
All right, thank you. So I encourage everyone to take a page from Ryan and schedule some time, write every day, and actively participate in the scientific process of not only writing papers, but peer reviewing, participating on editorial boards and the like.